the Chinese. It was a hoax.
Doesn't work. Restart the laptop.
What is it with
Okay,
those
that
Chinese and hoaxes?
Okay. Oh, you never know. It's all about destroying the American people, destroying the West. That's all they really want. That's what they care about.
I mean, honestly, what have we done to them?
We gave them Jesus. They should be grateful.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I can understand a lot of other countries want to destroy the rest because we have, like, well, bombed the shit out of their countries, occupied their lands, and put in a fascist dictator into, like, their government.
Mm-hmm.
But China just seems to be just like that other empire on the other side of the world. I mean, there's like, okay, maybe the Chinese just like hate all Anglophile white people because of the Opium Wars, which is understandable. So they just like hate the entire world.
I think they're just jealous because we have all the corn.
I see. Yeah.
That's probably not true, but you never know. You never know. By the way, we're live now.
Hello, everyone. It's just me and John Brockman.
Yes, Julie and Tom are sick this week, which is too bad for them and for us because they're fun.
And I'm looking at the link page, and it looks like that. What?
Looks like what?
Okay, it looks like it's only like 20 seconds long, and it stopped. And the chat is disabled for this live stream, which is weird. And it's also still say like Alchemy Gaming, like 26
Oh, that's because
April.
you're looking at the wrong thing. I started streaming, then realized that I had the streaming thing set up wrong. So go to, I can put the link in Discord. This one. The regular SJA thing. The one that's been
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I found it. And I see all of the links below as well.
Yep.
Hello, everyone. I don't know if we have any like viewers. We have one watching, which is probably me.
We have two watching, and that's both of us.
Well, hello to our listeners. Some Random Geek and Shurko Shan. How are you all doing?
Hey, I'm doing fine. I don't know about you. I'm not one of the ones who's, sick. Because I had the good sense to not get sick, which is a thing you can do by choice.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, so yes, by choice, because like there's vitamin C is a thing that you just take vitamin C and then you suddenly don't get sick.
Yep.
Right?
That's the tree. And essential oils. Essential oils are very important.
Oh yes. Oh yes, the essential oils. Oh right. Okay. Oh yeah. I heard about this like friend of mine who I went to high school with that like told me about this like great like get rich quick scheme about buying all these essential oils and trying to sell them, and it's just like. And wait a minute. So and then if you sell, and then I get other people to sell to other people and sell to other people. But if I do that 13 times, then that'll be like everyone on the planet, right?
Pretty much.
Huh? How come everyone else hasn't figured that out?
It's willful ignorance and blindness and the Chinese.
Right. Yes, the Chinese. Somehow or another, we can blame the Chinese. After all, everything is like.
Mm-hmm. They ruin everything with their communism.
Communism. But I call myself a communist, and I don't necessarily agree with everything that they do.
Well, since the Chinese aren't communist or socialist in any way, shape, or form, not too surprising.
Yeah, true.
Fuck you too, Tom. For the listeners at home, Tom has just showed up, and he saw the title of the stream. Canada,
Really?
of course, Canada. We should blame Canada. Thank you, Tom.
After all, they gave us Celine Dion.
Mm-hmm. Bryan Adams and Adam Sandler, I think.
No. The Canadian government has apologized for Bryan Adams several times.
That movie was acceptable.
Yes, it was. I think that's the only South Park thing that my mom actually watched because it was a music.
She didn't mind the dick joke right there in the title.
Maybe she. I think at that point she like didn't mind. Yeah, it's like it's weird. I growing up as a child, of course. Yeah, my mom wouldn't make those kind of jokes, but yet hanging out with her as an adult, I was surprised. It's like, wow, I'm surprised my mom actually made one of those jokes. Like, that's what she said, or something to that effect. So anyway, it's been another week. Remember, the work week is a fiction. Monday, doubly so. You can get rid of them if you really want to. This is Social Justice Alchemy.
Indeed. Oh, and I can play the thing. Have it set up.
Ooh, you can do what?
The theme music, the intro music is playing. You can't hear it, but the audience can. And now it's done.
Okay, yeah. And I was like, I probably just like talk over it as well. So
Yes, you
apologies for that. So
last week you were at a conference or a convention. The convention. Did you have fun?
I did have fun. Everything went well, considerably. I just like didn't pick up my badge for SoccerCon. That's where I went. It's the largest Pacific Northwest anime convention, and so just an anime convention. Just like go there to see cosplay, go to panels, meet English voice actors, some Japanese voice actors, some Japanese creators as well, which I didn't do. And they had a lot of stuff there. I did like the arcade selection this year because they actually had a lot of Japanese cabinets of like Japanese games, or just like the typical kind of like arcade games. But I was like, I saw one thing and I took a picture of it and posted on my social media. They had a cabinet of Typing of the Dead. Yeah. So for those who don't know about Typing of the Dead, it took like House of the Dead, that like a rail gun light gun shooter. And it took House of the Dead 2, but instead of you firing a gun, you type words on a keyboard, and every correct letter that you hit acts like a bullet out of the gun. And so, yeah, it's a fun game, but it's also an educational game, which is very important when you're killing zombies. And it was a game that was originally on the Dreamcast too, so that's why in the arcade cabinet, you see the characters normally in like the cutscenes. You see the characters like firing the guns against the zombies, but instead for Typing of the Dead, because you're typing, instead it's actually like a Dreamcast backpack that they have attached to the characters and a keyboard in front of them. So instead of firing a gun, they're typing on the keyboard in the game to kill the zombies.
So using violence to teach children to type.
To type well, yes.
Okay. It'd be better if it was porn or something, but you know.
Yeah, there's something like that, but it's like, zombie porn. I'm sure there is.
Well, it doesn't have to be zombie porn. Any sort of porn. Let the kids choose their porn, right?
Yes, exactly. Let the kids choose the porn.
You know, the farmer picks the wife picks the child picks the porn. That's how the song goes.
I'm not familiar with that song, actually.
The farmer in the Dell? The Farmer in the Dell? Hi Ho the Dario, The Farmer in the Dell?
Oh, okay. I'm
Okay.
now familiar with it. I now remember it, but just like it was too obscure for me to like the lines. I don't know. Yeah, it's like I barely remember it, so that's why.
For foreign listeners, The Farmer in the Dell is a popular children's song that does not actually involve pornography.
And so yeah, SoccerCon was a lot of fun. I didn't go to all the panels that I kind of want to. Sometimes it's just because like I don't want to wait in line. I don't want to line up. So I would just go close to near the start of like whatever the panel is going to start. It's like, oh, they capped the line for it. Oh well. I can see that movie later. I can do that other thing later. Or I never watched the Promised Neverland, so it's okay. I skipped that event. So sometimes there's kind of like, I think I'll do this. It's like, oh, I can't do this. I'll do something else. But I did go to a couple of panels, like Anime Feminist 101 panel as well.
Oh,
And
the SJWs are invading the weeaboo space.
they already have. Anime Feminist is the site animefeminist.com has been around since 2016 when the Amelia Cook bought the domain name for that, and they've been running ever since. And they have a Patreon, and so it's like they're not a not-for-profit because it's based in the UK, and not-for-profit laws suck. It is a benefit corporation, so it's a little different, but it is a site that's the design is set up for like, listen, we will pay you for your work. So if you have an article pitch it to us. Here's our guidelines, and don't worry if it's full of like typos and errors and misspellings. We will help you. And also, they encourage other voices to speak up. So if you're if you're not cishet white men, you can. There's a chance that you can get your article posted on animefeminist.com. Because they want to encourage like those other voices. And they have said, the writers and editors of animefeminist.com has like said in their podcast at Chatting AF that, hey, if you're a cis white man, don't worry, there are plenty of websites that will listen to you or like publish your word, as it were.
They're just opposed to integrity, honesty, ethics, and anime journalism.
Yes, it's all about the ethics in anime journalism. and oh, what was that? Oh man, I remember seeing this on Twitter because I actually follow some of the writers and editors on Twitter as well, and it's like, oh, you're just a capitalist organization that's just going to like steal money from all the people that's donating to you, and they're like, no, that's no. What gave you that idea? It's really their thinking. They are projecting, as it were. The right can never like see things not in a hierarchy, which is why they like. Which is why when they talk about like intersectionality and completely miss the point about it, they will say it's an intersectional hierarchy. A disabled, queer, trans, black woman is at the top of the intersectional hierarchy, and cis white man is at the bottom. And it's like, that's not what the intersectionality is about. But they can never think not in hierarchical kind of structures.
Yeah, I really think that more than anything else is what defines the right.
They always see everything in their own worldview. So if someone is doing something, it must be for virtual signaling or you want to like white knight for that person because you want to get in bed with them. And it's kind of like, they're in the UK, I'm in the US. How is that possible?
Cyber, and you can, import brides and shit, right? I mean, that's a thing. Trump did it.
Yeah. I have heard about like the importing brides. Yeah. I guess that is a thing. There's certainly like some anime that kind of like glorify that, or isn't part of the plot. Rise of the Shield Hero. No, yeah, it's seriously slavery and sex trafficking in them, or at least slavery, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
But it's legal slavery, so it's okay. That's what the anime right says, and it's just like, yeah. So when Anime Feminist, instead of like reviewing the first episode of the preview of that show, Rise of the Shield Hero, they said, okay, instead of doing that, here is like an article about like human sex trafficking, and just post that up there and give out all that information and said, instead of talking about this anime, here's a lot of information for you.
What information? I I don't know. It sounds kind of gay. Information? Who does that? Information? No.
A journalistic
No.
website.
No, that's a feminazi thing. Information. Trying to make people better informed and shit. Nah.
Yeah, we can't have
Fascists.
information. We can't
Nazis.
have
That's who does
knowledge.
that.
Right, fascist. And remember, you cannot spell fascist or fascism without the word cis.
Oh, nice.
I got that from someone else on Twitter.
It's right there. It's in the middle of the word. Well, toward the end of the word, but still, it's right there. And it's on the right. Oh, nice.
Yeah, so many layers that you didn't notice. So, yeah, overall, I did have fun at the anime convention, and afterwards, I posted this on my Twitter as well and my social media that like I went right after the con, like and or towards the end of the con before it ended, I went to see a anime movie in the movie theater because the Cinerama was doing their anime film series. So on Sunday, I got to see Paprika. This is the last Satoshi Kon movie that he directed, and that was great and awesome. And went home, and then the next day, I took the Monday off because it was after the con. I was just like, I'll take the money off just for the post-con blues, just to relax and maybe do some other stuff. But it also happened that like the Cinerama was continuing doing their anime film series for that week, and that Monday they were showing at their theater Wolf Children at 1:30, and then at 4:45 Tokyo Godfathers, and then later that night. Oh wait, they were showing like Castle in the Sky late that night. But me and my brothers, we watched Wolf Children and then Tokyo Godfathers. But also that day, Phantom Events was like releasing another anime movie, a new one, Okudo's Inn. And I figured out, wait a minute, there's a movie theater right over here that is showing that movie. So after Tokyo Godfathers like ended about like 6:30, me and my brothers just like walk over to like another theater, and it's like, okay, we'll see this other movie, Okudo's Inn. And yeah, we did. Okudo's Inn was interesting, about a girl who lost her parents in a traffic accident. It happens at the very beginning of the movie, so kind of like Finding Nemo, as it were, except that like both parents died. And she works and lives at the inn of her grandma, and basically becomes the next innkeeper. But she also sees ghosts. It's interesting. It's kind of I like it. It has like It has a very idealized kind of like a look at the child main character. She doesn't really act like a real 6-year-old would or a 7-year-old would, as it were. But it's a movie, so it's kind of like it was entertaining, interesting, and it dealt with like traumatic stuff. And like I overall like it, and I'll have to like see it again if I really enjoy it or really like it. And then the next day, watch more movies. It was Red Line at the anime film series in Cinerama, and then Your Name. Now, I'll mention this also: Paprika, Wolf Children, Tokyo Godfathers, Tokyo Godfathers being another Satoshi Kon movie, Okudo's Inn, and Red Line all happen to be like animated at the same animation studio, Studio Madhouse. So I watched 5 Studio Madhouse movies in a row, all of which very different as well. There's some similarities between Tokyo Godfathers and Paprika because same director, but that's about it.
So, you don't really care for the studio? Is that what you're saying?
They make a lot of stuff. I mean, they made Cardcaptor Sakura. They made like Black Lagoon. They made like the Unico movies for Sanrio. They've like did like Tsubasa Chronicles. No. Tsubasa Chronicles with B Train. I don't know. Yeah, they make a lot of like different stuff. And like Mamoru Hosoda animates with that studio. Satoshi Kon animated with that studio. Yeah, they make a lot of different things. Not all of them is good. Right Back was interesting as anime. It's it had some interesting concept, but it kind of did not grab me or grab hold of me or engage me throughout the whole series. So it's kind of like that one was a little disappointing. But to finish out the film series on Wednesday night, that's the only movie I saw was Mind Game. It is weird. It's
Lives up to the title, sounds like.
I mean, my brothers did not enjoy it because of how weird it is, especially since like the second half of the movie spends all of its time inside of a whale. Yes, that happened.
Totally ripping off of the Bible and Pinocchio. I mean, come on.
Exactly. I mean, the characters just like meets the old man, dance around, have some fun, and then do some other things. And there's it basically is like a series of big lip alligator moments as well. But I was entertained by it. So Mind Games still kind of have a narrative as well, and still kind of like handles some interesting things. I still wince at the attempted rape scene, but it's like it's one scene and it like passes by, and so. But it was weird, and I loved it for it. And it's by the same director of a movie that I reviewed on my channel, Lou of the Wall, and the same director who did the Netflix series Devilman Crybaby as well.
Okay.
It's also that was also from like Studio 4 Degrees Celsius, and they have done like other like short films and like did other work for like the Animatrix and like Halo Legends as well. So they're kind of like known for that. Oh yeah, and the director also worked on the movie Cat Soup. So if you've seen Cat Soup and how weird and bizarre that movie is, you're prepared for Mind Game. But then the next day, another movie I saw, Avengers Endgame.
Stop talking right now. No, I haven't seen it yet. Gonna see it. Don't want spoilers. I will kill you. I will fly across the country and I will kill you.
Lucas Vader's father, Kevin Spacey's Kaiser Soze, Soil Venus people, it's a cookbook, it was Earth all along, Red Arrow's the mole, Bruce Willis is dead all the entire time, Rosebud's a sled.
Snape kills Trinity with Rosebud. That's all you need to know.
Okay. John, and anyone who's listening, to prepare yourself for Endgame, I will say this. I should have brought tissues, and that's all I'm...
Oh. Good sex scene then, huh?
Oh, really good sex scene. That was just like... I can sort of see shipping like the Hulk and Raccoon. I was like, well, how would that guy work? But like, hey, they love each other, so...
Raccoon's the top, obviously.
Exactly, and it's like loving and touching and consensual as well. But that song and dance routine was just like, oh, and with all those characters on the screen, it's like amazing. I also want to see it again.
I cannot wait. Maybe I'll go see it tonight instead of... Yeah, tonight. I'm just gonna... Boom, screw everything else. Going to see it tonight. Definitely.
And the only other thing I did this week...
Tonight is Saturday. It'll be crowded. It might still be worth it.
Maybe if you go to the super late showings, it might not be as...
True.
Because I was like, I looked at like the showings for last night just because I get off work at like 8:30. It's like, oh wait, there's still showings for Endgame at the local theater in Seattle, and maybe it's like close to sell out. I don't mind being in the crowd. I was in the crowd on Thursday night, so and I'm sure I wasn't the only person that cried in that theater. But I also laughed out loud. I like fist pumped, and like I was like, oh wow, I didn't expect that, but that's so awesome. That's so cool. And a lot of like, ooh, I did as well because like I was kind of like thinking, and like, how did they get to this? Ooh, oh, I like that, and it's like, oh, that's a callback. It's like, oh, and it's like, oh, they got that from the comics, and it's like, I at least know that happened in the comics, and that is awesome. Yes.
Okay, now you're definitely giving away spoilers. Now I just have to read all the comics to know things that happen in the comics, and I know what happened. Damn it, Jonathan.
Hey, it's sometimes the journey that is the important stuff.
No, it's the destination.
Well, okay, but just think of it like Columbo. How it's like, you know who killed the person at the beginning of the episode, and so it's just like Columbo stumbling around and saying one more thing, and then trying to figure out how to like prove that the kill.
Yeah. Still have to see it soon. Like right away.
Yes. But one thing that I did also watch last night that like everyone can see right now if they have Netflix is the second season of She-Ra.
I still haven't watched the first season of She-Ra. I should
Well,
do that.
I do recommend it whenever you get the chance. It's a really good kids show. What the only problem, or like not really a problem, but a bit of surprise, is that the second season, and I could have figured it out if I just actually look at like the episode guide or the episode count. The second season is only 7 episodes. Well, the first season 13. But I know that like after the success of the first season, which I liked how like the ending of the first season, or how the first season ended. It did not end everything. It wasn't a finale for sure, but at the very least, the story arc that they followed, I felt there was enough of a conclusion to that story arc that if somehow they left it there and didn't make any more, I personally would have been satisfied. There have been like some people that have never been satisfied, but I would have been satisfied. However, in the second season, there's only 7 episodes, and so I was like, in the next episode, there's no next episode. Oh man, I have to wait for the next episode. Oh well. But but I know that like there is going to be a third and a fourth season for sure from like Netflix. They already commissioned like the third and fourth season, so I'm not too worried about it. I just had to like wait however long it takes them to like make it. But also considering that like the first season dropped on like November last year, and then it's like at the end of April we get the second season. I'm kind of not surprised with like that short of a time frame that we got only 7 episodes. But there's a lot I did like about like the second season of the She-Ra. There were some anime references in the 4th episode. Roll with it, and that was episode was kind of funny. They do include at least enough of the characters, but yet if someone has like their favorite character, they might have been disappointed that like they didn't get enough screen time, and that's understandable. And it's only 7 episodes too, so there's like even less screen time for like any of the characters, the majority of characters. And I like where they're going in the direction, and the world building they're doing. It seems like not to be the focus either. It's the characters that's the focus, and I like that.
Okay. I've only ever heard really good things about She-Ra, so I'm not really surprised that it's good.
And also, there's no character with huge boobs. Sorry, the quartering. Sorry, Sargon of the Cot. The character with the biggest boobs would have to be Spinnerella, but she's big bodied around anyway, so it's proportional.
Mm-hmm.
So what else has happened this week? Because I talked the most.
Yeah, well, you had a big weekend. Let's see. It's hard for me to remember because I get a lot of my news from podcasts and I'm consistently behind. So right now I'm hearing a lot about the Mueller report.
Yeah, well, that did like drop like last week, and we happened to not have an episode last week, so it was like anything that happened like not just this week but also last week is like free game to talk about. Like they reads the Mueller reports, and
Basically, it does not exonerate Trump. And even with, all the redaction, it's pretty clear that the Trump campaign was riddled with crime and corruption, which surprises absolutely no one.
yeah, exactly. And based off of like John Oliver's last week tonight's segment on it, their interpretation of the Mueller report that we see is kind of like they were trying to like actually like work with the Russians into and also obstruct the proceedings of justice. They were trying to do that, but for the Russia thing, the reason why they didn't is because they were it's stupid Watergate.
Incompetent. Yeah.
Yes,
They're just
it
stupid. They
they were
tried and failed to commit a crime. And it wasn't because they were, moral or decent or anything like that. They were just stupid. They kept tripping over themselves trying to sell drugs, basically. They got stuck in the door trying to sell drugs to one another. That's what happened.
yeah, that's a good way to describe it. And for the obstruction of justice, President Trump was trying to obstruct justice, but what prevented that from happening was all the people that like he ordered to like do this, do that, do that. They didn't do that. They didn't listen to him.
Yeah,
And
there were
that
some
gives
there
me
were some decent people in the administration. Yeah. They're all gone now.
yeah. That's like slowly but surely, like Trump has like got rid of all of the decent people who pretty much said, "No, you can't do that."
Let's
But
see. Other things in the news is that the party of law and order is breaking laws in order to not answer congressional subpoenas.
the Republicans are not answering to authority.
What a shock. Well, democratic authority, which means that it's not real authority. It's not God-given authority. It's stolen authority with those
It's
immigrants.
illegitimate authority.
Mm-hmm.
It's illegitimate. I mean, the people decide to like elect these Democratic candidates.
The wrong people, bad people.
The wrong people voted these people in.
And you know they're the wrong people because they voted for the Democrats.
Look at all these women and people of color in here. So there's subpoenas delivered to certain members of the Republican Party, so those members are not listening to. I am actually not familiar with the story.
Basically, Congress has been, using its subpoena power to demand things like Trump's tax returns, and members of the administration are like not Tim Mnuchin. I know his name is Mnuchin, but I'm getting him confused with Tim Minchin. Are refusing to answer that subpoena. Mnuchin is the one in charge of Treasury, and he's just refusing to hand over the shit.
Yeah. Is we cannot, and if we ask Trump as we have before, Trump says, "Listen, it's too complicated for like the average person to look at my tax return." I think he means that it's too complicated for him, and that
I think he means he just doesn't want to hand it over because it would show that he's just a piece of shit who doesn't know anything about anything, and he's been a large failure throughout much of his life.
Okay, there's another theory I heard like years ago. So this is before he was elected. That part of the reason he doesn't want to show his tax returns, but this also assumes that like he's Trump's intelligent man in the way. But the part of the reason he doesn't want to show his tax returns because if he does, it shows that like he as a realtor gets a lot of tax breaks, which I think kind of the American people already know right now. But with all of the tax breaks that they get, it just shows like how unfair the system is for the business people, for the business owners, for the capitalist class, for the owning class in this system. And yeah, so that's one theory, but it's just like that could be
I
true.
don't think Trump is that self-aware or anything.
Exactly, yeah.
I think it's just that he's a criminal, and the only reason he's gotten away with it is because he's rich and the IRS is underfunded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, hell, it's like at least other people have managed to dig up the tax returns of like Amazon so that they can report that like them and 60 other companies did not pay a single dime in like taxes. They, in fact, they got so much tax credits. In some cases, they got so much tax credits that we give them a rebate. So, yeah, this is America. Amazon can like collect $11.2 billion in profits and not have to pay a dime in taxes on it because of loopholes, because of shell games, because of tax havens, because of like all different things. It's not Google that's like actually collecting the taxes and based in the US, or like, no, Google is like, it's a subsidiary of like the Apple Alphabet Corporation, and they're based in somewhere else in a tax haven. And it's just like, it's a system for the capitalists, the capitalism, which it is, and all this neoliberal policies of just like laissez-faire like regulations on this sort of stuff is like creates the massive divide of the wealth gap, and people wonder why there's some unrest amongst the people.
I think it's because the system is unfair and the world sucks if you're not really rich and white.
Yes, exactly. Oh, but it could be a lot worse. Have you been a homeless person in Zimbabwe and compare that to a homeless person in America? Who has the... I want to
probably the
end
person
all
in Zimbabwe. It's warmer.
I should have said that, actually. But I want to end all homelessness, and we can do that if we want to. I want to, but I don't have the power to do that. And people with the power to do that don't want. Also, like, Notre Dame was on fire like last week.
Yes. Oh, it feels like ages ago, but yes. That is a damn shame.
Yes, parts of it was on fire, and but not to worry, because like billionaires with all the money in the world were easy and willing to and quick to donate money to repairing parts of the cathedral. It wasn't even like the entire cathedral, it's just like the bit at the top, if I remember correctly.
I can't even remember. What I do remember is thinking, like, oh, I wonder how long it'll take before they start blaming this on Muslims. It was about 5 seconds.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's just like anything happened, it must be the Muslims. That's the same. It's same thing in like Oklahoma City when the Oklahoma bombing happened. It must have been Islamic terrorism. Then Timothy Faye shows up and is like, "Oh,
Nope, white nationalist."
yes, exactly." He blames us, the U.S. government, for what we did in Waco. Oh, okay. Well, we're still going to like punish you.
Just not as much as we would a brown person.
We feel bad for punishing a white person for something that a white person did.
And honestly, it's really brown people's fault, so we'll take that into account somehow. It was brown people who made him do this. They pushed him. It was Chinese hoax.
I mean, we were bombing like brown people countries anyway, so they must have done something wrong. Have oil, that was it. Yes.
Yep.
Oil.
Oil. Don't know how that came into it with Timothy McVeigh, but you know it's there somehow, almost certainly.
Yeah. Our audience has suspected this, so it's just like it's just two anarchists just rambling.
Ooh, I just came across an article. It's
Yee!
forward.com. which apparently offers unlimited access to Jewish news, opinions, culture, and more. It's fast forward, quick reads through a Jewish lens. I don't know. I found it through Reddit. I don't know much about the site itself. But Twitter can't ban white nationalists in the same way it has removed ISIS-affiliated terrorists from the platform, because doing so would affect the accounts of Republican politicians.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. So,
the technical employee explained to his peers at an internal all-hands meeting that any algorithms used to detect and remove white nationalist rhetoric would inevitably lead to automatic bans of GOP members.
I still don't see the bad news about this. Ban those GOP members.
Yeah, I mean, Steve King is a white supremacist. Donald Trump is a white supremacist. The White House is staffed with white supremacists. This isn't really difficult. If the problem with banning white supremacists and white nationalists and neo-Nazis is that it would also sweep up the white nationalists and neo-Nazis in the Republican Party, the problem isn't with the algorithms, the problem is with the Republican Party.
Yes, the Republican parties are fascist, in my opinion. Easily. Even if they're not fascist, they're at least fascist sympathizers.
Yep. I mean, it's by design. That's the way the Republican Party has been for 50 fucking years.
Yeah, they always wanted just like to be one party ruled because and it's a problem with like the US government system is like Chris Winters mentioned this on one of her weekend winters as opposed to like other governments where it's just like it's the party that like has the majority in parliament that basically rules, and if they don't have a majority then they get in a coalition with like someone else that's kind of close in line to their political alignment somehow, and then they form a coalition, and that coalition runs the parliament, and so that's how you for a time you get like one party rule. Chris Ward says that like our parliamentary system or Congress and Senate and the three branches doesn't work like that. It's about the legislative branch is more or less about compromise. You have to like compromise with the opposition in order to get things passed, get things to be done, get things to be voted into law. And I guess I can see the idea behind that to avoid like dictatorial kind of like things, to like a one party rule and just like make sweeping changes, and then the other party comes in and makes sweeping changes again, back and forth like that. But what if one party realizes that they can just stonewall everything, stonewall processes, even the government itself, until they get what they want, and the other side that's doing the compromising more and more. And
You
I think
mean how the centrists keep, capitulating to the fascists? We've never
exactly
seen this before in history, ever. That's never been a thing before. There's no parallel in history for what's happening right now. I'm being kind of sarcastic with this.
and there's no parallel to the rise of fascism that we are experiencing right now, a decade after the economic collapse of the Great Recession, because it's not like we had a Great Depression like 80 years or 80 years before that eventually led to the rise of fascism in places in the world.
Yep. And on that note, I have to get to my D&D podcast in a few minutes, which means I'm going to need to cut out now to go walk the dog.
Okay. Well, hey, we managed to like talk a lot. I talk a lot about what happened this week, but we still managed to cover some news items that happened and give our opinions of like the Mueller report and like other things that are happening, and still talk politics. So it was a good 40.
Yes. Why don't you go ahead and plug your watching things?
Hello, I am Some Random Geek. I have a Twitter account, Some Random. I have a YouTube account as well, Some Random Geek. I haven't posted anything recently onto that thing yet. maybe I'll do a review of like Endgame. Don't hold me to it, but keep watching the website. Please give money to our friends and comrades who are in need. Phoenix, the channel Phoenix Rising 87 has a GoFundMe campaign. Makia B, he has a GoFundMe campaign. Please give money to our comrade Joanna via PayPal at severejoe.com to severejoe@gmail.com. Foxy Jazzy Bell also has one that like Steve Shots mentioned at the last Ask Away, but I don't have the link for it. But like if there's a link in the description or I put it in the live chat or put it in the comments later on, please do so. And then even though like Leto Ano's not here, Leto Ano is an admin for Anarchist Memes, the Facebook group, and she is the Crypt Crafter on Facebook as well as Leto Ano on YouTube and on Twitter. She's more active on Twitter now, so follow her on Twitter.
Okay, and in addition to doing Social Justice Alchemy, I also take part in, as I said just now, a D&D podcast, Dungeons and Debacles, hosted by my friend Kevin. It's a lot of fun, wildly different. I also, here on Social Justice Alchemy, practice the guitar most nights. I play video games most nights. So you can just come hang out with me while I do that sort of stuff if you want. All right. And with that, I'll go ahead and play the outro music. Try not to talk through it this time, Jonathan.
Okay, I won't talk through it.
And now it's safe to talk.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and I will go ahead and turn off the stream now. As soon as I find the right window.
Goodbye, comrades and potential comrades.
Bye.